Hi, I'm Viv. I'm very excited for us to be starting on this journey to you having your own online course. But first things first, we need to go through a little bit of background to make sure that we're on the right track when we're setting off on this journey to get your course done. So first of all, you need to think about your why. Why do you want to build a course? For some people, it will be because they have a passion about something. Some people are passionate about their animals or their hobby or their sport, their fitness, something like that. So they have that knowledge because of their passion. You might have a particular skill. You might be able to speak a language. You might have a skill like knitting that other people would like to learn. Some people will be wanting to build a course for lead generation, because if you build a course, then you can use that to generate leads for your business. If you have a real estate business, for instance, you might build a course that tells me how I can have my house ready for sale in 10 weeks. And you might give that course away in return for my email address. So then when I'm thinking of selling my business, I'll go to you because I will have developed that kind of relationship with you. You also might be wanting to make a course because you want to monetize it. You want to have some income. It could be a full-time income or a part-time income where you have some money coming in from this course because you're sharing your knowledge with other people. You also need to think about who is your audience, who needs or wants your information, and what kind of course they're going to appreciate. You can understand that if you are aiming at industry, if you were, say, an electrician giving some tips, you would be maybe giving them in a different way to someone if you were teaching me how to knit. It may be that you're a life coach or you want to share life skills. So you need to think about who it is that who will want your information so that you can direct your course to them. If you're wanting to monetize your course, you also need to decide on who might be able to afford your course. Because if you're wanting to monetize a course, you obviously have to have clients who are willing to pay you. Something to think about here is that the money that you charge for your course will depend on the size of the problem that you're solving. You're not actually selling them your time, you're selling them a solution. So if your solution or your course might teach me how to do coding on a computer, and it might save me from years of searching around to try and find out how to do it and break it down into something that's going to take me 3 months or 6 months. Well, that saving of my time is worth a whole lot to me. So you have to kind of think about the dollar value in relation to the size of the problem that you're solving. You also need to think about, coming back to who needs or wants your information, what is your niche? If you choose to sell to everyone, you'll serve no one, because you need to be pitching your course to your audience. In the same way, if you came into a school, you might have the best lesson in the world, but if you teach that same lesson to the grade 1s as you teach to the grade 12s, you're not going to be able to have a lesson that hits it with both of those groups. So you need to think about your niche, and if you're monetizing your course, then this will help you with your marketing later on as well. So when we're creating a course, or we're going to be we're having a public identity, I guess, and you need to think about your attractive character. Now, I'm taking this information from Expert Secrets, and there's a link down below for you to be able to click on to get this book if you would like to know more. Basically, we need to think about these kinds of things when we're looking at the person that we want to be when we're delivering the course. We don't want to be someone who's full of doom and gloom, and we don't want to be someone who's very boring, I guess, if you're going to have a course that's got 15-hour-long episodes. So to be able to have people to know a little bit more about you, you need to think about your backstory, and we've all got one as to how we got to where we are today. I was a teacher. I've looked at lots of side hustles, I guess, as time's gone on, and I've fallen in love with this online media. We need to look at what our character flaws were. Procrastination is my big one. And we need to be able to bring that all together. So our identity, they say that we can choose one of 4 identities. We can be a leader, we can be an adventurer or a crusader, we can be a reporter or an evangelist, or we can be a reluctant hero, or a combination of those. But if you think about people that you follow, all of them will fall into one of those categories. And we need to think about our storyline. Why are you teaching the course that you're teaching? Are you teaching it because you've had an amazing discovery? Are you teaching it to tell your story? Sometimes telling your story can be powerful and can help other people through whatever they're going through. Is it a before and after? Have you started off being a couch potato and now are you running marathons? Is that your story that gives you that credibility for your course? So you've got a couple of other ideas there as well. Something that a lot of people get caught up on, and I must agree, I have been one of those, is who decides whether you're an expert in your field? We all tend to think it's us that we'll decide when we're an expert. We'll decide when we've got enough information, when we know everything. That can end up in 2 ways. It can either end up in me thinking, oh, I know it all, and jumping straight into everything, or it might make me think, oh, I'll just learn a little bit more. I'll just be a little bit better at this before I actually share it with others. And the answer to this is your audience will decide whether you're an expert or not. You don't get to decide that at all. So your audience will decide whether they think that what you have is of value. And as I've put there, one chapter ahead, there's the Leonardo DiCaprio movie where he's basically a professional liar, and he isn't qualified at all, but he teaches university for a while. And when they asked him how did he do it, he said, I just had to be one chapter ahead. And in a lot of ways, we just have to be one chapter ahead as well. If you know all about your field, that's fantastic. But if you come, as you're working through your courses, you may find that you get to the point where you are just one chapter ahead. And that's okay, because if you're one chapter ahead of me, then that means you can take that knowledge and you can compress the time that it will take me to learn it. And so that's what I will be happy for. We also need to be solving a problem. If we're not solving a problem that people have, no one will want our course. So you need to be making sure that your course is going to solve a problem that people have. It's also a good idea to pitch it as a change of opportunity. If you are running a course on losing weight, for instance, and I may feel that I've tried to lose weight a lot of times and I've failed, that might just make me think, oh, well, if I do this course and I failed, it'll be another thing I've failed at. But if you can twist it around slightly to make it a new opportunity, then it gives people the idea of a fresh start and they're much more likely to want to be part of it. Okay, how do we get to where we want to go? So what we are wanting to do is taking our learner from the beginning point, so where they're starting the course, to the end point, A to B. Now, you might have a great deal of knowledge on something like a language. You might be really great at your language. And obviously, I might not know anything about the language. So if I come into your course, I'm going to have to start right at the very beginning. So it may be that there's not just one course, 1 6 or 8 week course that you can put together that's going to suit me. The course may be one of many that you do. All we're looking at for this program is to get our core course done. Don't worry too much about what's going to sit around it, but do remember that you don't have to fit everything into the one course. You can always add more later, and you can always put a course before it and after it. Content. So what do we put in this magical course that we're about to create? Well, unfortunately, it's got very little to do with us. It's all about our audience. So it's not about what we think is important. because we're not paying for this course, or we're not putting our time in, either with time or money or both. People are going to be paying for our course. So we need to make sure that we are giving the audience what we want. And again, we may need beginner and expert levels of this course, depending on what your subject is. So this is where you need to make a start. What you're going to need to do before we get on to the next section is you need to work out your niche. Who are you wanting to serve? Who are you going to be aiming your course towards? Is it going to be women or men? Is it going to be 20-year-olds or 50-year-olds? Or it doesn't have to be super, super narrow, but the narrower you can be, the more you're going to be able to serve your audience. You can have a bit of a brainstorm as well about the problems that your niche might have. So think about if you're wanting to, whatever you're teaching them, what are the barriers to them having that knowledge now? At the end of the day, we know that we can pretty much Google anything and find it eventually for ourselves, but we're wanting to shortcut that process for our clients or our learners. So what are the problems that our niche may have? And some of these problems, they might not even know that they have yet. I want you to go back to the slide on the attractive character, and I want you to look at your elements, your identity, and your storyline. So you've got a bit of an idea about how all of that is going to come together behind your course. I want you to decide on your solution. So I want you to decide exactly what your course is going to be. And then we were going to find out what people want. And the way that we're going to do this is really, really simple, and it's called an ask campaign. So an ask campaign is where we gather data. So if your course is going to be on how to crochet items around the house, what we're going to do is we're going to ask people, if you were doing a course on crocheting, what would you like to know? And who do we ask? We've got lots and lots of people we can ask. Friends and family, colleagues. I'm forever asking people about, what do you think of this? What do you think about that? A Facebook survey, Facebook's awesome. You can even put surveys in some group pages, and LinkedIn's another place. And that's just the very beginning. So think about your niche, think about where they're hanging out, and do an ask campaign. So find out as much what would be your number one question about whatever your topic is. Once you've done that, you'll have lots and lots of different results. When you collate them, you'll find that they'll start to fall into a few similar categories. And what I want you to do is collate them so that you've got the like questions together. So it gives you a bit of an idea about the basis for your course and what people are wanting to know. So before Module 2, decide on your niche, look at your attractive character, order the book from the link below if you need to, brainstorm, 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 and get all of that information from your ask campaign completed and collated. Now, if we're wanting to get this book done in our 45 days, we've got to make sure that we're keeping up every week. So if you've got any questions at all, just ask in our Facebook group. And I think that's plenty for you to be starting with. So good luck with everything. Again, ask, share ideas in the Facebook group. Everyone's there to help. And I look forward to seeing you in the next module. Thank you.